Hello, this is my presentation on my future goals as an educational studies major. First, an introduction. My name is Nicole Merritt. I am a senior at Arizona State University. My major is in education studies with a focus on family and human development. For my future career goals, here are a few that I've been looking into. They include being an academic advisor at a high school or college level, a coordinator at a nonprofit that works with children in the urban area, a trainer or training specialist in a corporate setting, such as Starbucks. Teaching is not part of my career goals, but it would serve as my alternative if my other options do not work. In creating a plan for my future goal as an education studies major, I first started by assessing some strengths I have. My first strength that will help me in my career is the type of education I received at ASU. In the family and human development track, I had opportunities to learn how to develop and work in teams, create partnerships with various organizations to meet a need, and be an advocate for the community. Many of the projects I did in my courses involve real-life scenarios and practical applications that will help me build skills and be able to work in nonprofit organizations and college campuses. Another strength that will help me in my future goals are my transferable skills that I have for my current job at Starbucks. Even though there are differences in what I do in a coffee shop and in a nonprofit organization, there are skills that are required in both to become successful. During my experience at Starbucks, I've developed skills such as communication, customer service, organization, problem solving, and conflict resolution. I also learned how to utilize consequential thinking, which D'Souza defines as a kind of means-ends analysis, encouraging us to weigh the consequences of our actions before deciding which paths will be the most appropriate and suitable under given circumstances, which helps me in my interaction with coworkers and customers. Starbucks has helped me create a culture where management should be encouraged, employees involved in accountability at all levels to exhibit consistency in applying company policies, so I am able to recognize a good corporate culture in these organizations. I lastly possess several personal traits and skills that will help me in nonprofit organizations. I have an eye for detail and am able to recognize patterns of the issues I am observing. I also have problem-solving skills that are creative and flexible growth. In nonprofit organizations, empathy is the key trait that are needed, especially when working with marginalized populations, which is what I want to do. Putting myself in their shoes and understanding the many emotions people will make a difference in how I work and finding solutions in nonprofit organizations. When implementing leadership in my career track, I want to focus on the end goal being that the people that I work with become successful and healthy. The best approach I would take on to make sure this goal is accomplished, I will use the transformational leadership model. Transformational leadership is a relatively new approach where instead of expecting compliance and simply checking off a to-do list, it takes on a holistic approach where leaders encourage passion, support team members, have integrity, respect for themselves and others, and inspire teams to become better. They have an optimistic approach where D'Souza believes that they will accomplish what they are set out to do, even if it takes time and they counter obstacles, problems, they are not discouraged. When working in nonprofit organizations within my career track, there are character traits I will need to take on in order to become the best leader for the people I am working with. They will include character. It is important that I am able to be an optimistic leader that will create a positive synergy within myself and my team. Having character will include being empathetic to others, having integrity, being authentic, and the capacity to listen to others, especially in times where constructive criticism is given. Having character will enable to build trust and connection with nonprofits. Second, potential. Being able to see potential in my team will motivate them to become more successful and be able to build trust amongst everybody. Seeing potential in my team will identify the right question and choose the path their team should follow to seek the answer, which includes being expertise in leading the process, enable their team to participate in the solution rather than be overwhelmed by the problem. This will enable my team and the nonprofit organizations to believe that themselves and see what they're truly capable of. The next is attitude. Having the right attitude will build cooperation and synergy in my team. It could be being respectful to my team, not letting stress interfere with progress, recognize when I do something wrong, and being organized. D'Souza talks about people with a good attitude to be prudent, realistic, and highly attentive to their health and safety. In working with nonprofits, especially those who work with disadvantaged people who are in need of help, having an appropriate attitude will create better results and will be able to motivate others to do better. Adaptability. While working in a nonprofit organization, changes can occur at a moment's notice, such as budget cuts, a change in team systems, or a crisis that happens within a person who the nonprofit serves. It is important to be able to adapt and change to these drastic changes and requires sensitivity to integrate into a existing framework of a relationship. It requires adjustment and making sure that everyone's on the same page. And lastly, passion. It could simply care about the team and the mission we're taking on. It could involve being excited about upcoming events in elementary school, motivate team members who may be struggling to overcome a challenge, and align my values with the organization. Having passion for what I do in the nonprofit organizations will exponentially raise a team's potential and enhances the power of its can-do attitude and increases resilience. When it comes to looking for motivation, I knew I had to look both inward and outward to look for my why in pursuing my career track. D'Souza describes intrinsic motivation as the fundamental basis for our feelings of contentment and aptitude, as well as our feelings of joy and rapture. In order for me to reach my highest level, I first need to look for stability on the outside, which can be found in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. At the base, there are physiological and safety needs that are needed for survival, such as shelter, food, and other basics. This would be met through finding a job that will provide stable income that will enable me to be safe. Once I have those physical needs met through stable income, I can then move up in the pyramid and start focusing more on internal rewards. Working in a nonprofit will give me opportunities to connect with my team and the community and give me a sense of belonging. Being able to belong in a group will help me build confidence, will then motivate me to want to do more. With now having a sense of belonging to my team and my community, I can then look more inward for emotional fulfillment and contentment, knowing that the work I do after all the studying, planning, and doing will be well worth it. When I started thinking about my career track and how I will accomplish my goals, I looked to role models who were able to make an impact in education and social justice. Seeing how they were able to make an impact in the area of education and social justice helped me realize my own potential and inspired me to push forward. Dr. Maria Montessori was an educator who founded the Montessori method, which centers around a child-led and hands-on learning and fostering independence. She first developed and utilized her education method for impoverished children who lived in the streets of Italy. It provided these children who normally would not receive an education a chance for something better. The Montessori method allows children to explore their interests, build new skills in an organic manner, and have the adults be a supportive guide for their educational needs. When I approach my work in nonprofits that center around disadvantaged children, I want to take on the approach of Dr. Montessori. I will take her optimistic approach by realizing her capabilities to tackle challenges and deal with failure, and optimists choose to rise above these experiences by looking through a constructive lens which inspires learning and growth. Malala Yousafzai is a Pakistani education activist who fought for the rights of young girls to receive an education. When the Taliban took over her country, she was among with the other girls who were banned from attending school. She knew it was unfair, so she began to speak out against the regime and become an advocate for other young girls when she was 11. In 2012, she survived the assassination attempt by the Taliban and was eventually transferred over to the United Kingdom. She eventually went on to receive a Nobel Peace Prize for her advocacy and was able to receive a degree from Oxford University. She is an example of resilience and optimism, something I want to implement in myself and my students. D'Souza would say that she was identifying and adopting the necessary steps to sustain continuous action through the goal of positive outcomes, which then allow her the opportunity of balance in their lives because they see endless inroads to finding solutions to problems and challenges. She helped me realize that even when there's pushback from others, there's hope that I will accomplish everything I will set out to do. Lastly, Harvey Milk. Harvey Milk was a politician and the first openly gay man to be elected public office in California. After moving to San Francisco after World War II, he began to note the unfair laws that targeted the community. He started to organize campaigns and attend protests to fight against unfair laws. He fought through a lot of pushback and was eventually elected member of the Board of Supervisors of the district. Unfortunately, he was assassinated in 1978 because of these radical changes. In the current climate of the LGBT community is under attack in my state. It is important that I look to advocates for the past to be able to find new policies that are being implemented against us. Milk represents stubbornness and the ability to not give up the fight, which are traits more needed than ever. I may encounter students who are the LGBT community who may need me to advocate for them, so I'll look to Harvey Milk as a role model. In order for me to take on nonprofit organizations as my career track in education, I must possess the ability to be empathetic to the people I am serving. I will encounter people who may come from situations that I may or may not relate or understand, such as poverty, domestic violence, learning challenges, or leaving a war-torn country. Within my responsibility in nonprofit, I need to recognize active listening, which is a person's willingness and ability to hear and understand someone else, considering the effects of decisions, and have an interest appreciation for others. One practice I will utilize that D'Souza recommends is mirroring, which involves one partner makes a complaint, the other repeats back in its own words the message, attempting to capture both emotion and thought, allowing the partner to check in with the other to make sure the message is received accurately understood. This will make sure I am in tune with the people I work with so they are seen and heard. With understanding the situation people are facing, I can seek out services that will best help them overcome their circumstances. Having empathy can allow me to be able to put myself in other person's shoes and see the world through the other person's eyes. Being able to do that gives us the ability to gain credibility, respect, and trust in others. 3 very important aspects of any successful interaction or relationship. With that in mind, I am able to make changes for the betterment of my community. In reflecting on my progress towards my career track in nonprofit work, I must include my noble and ultimate goals with what I want to do in my professional life. Even though I am an education major, I really don't want to teach in a classroom, although I would do it as a last resort. I know I want to be able to make a difference in students' lives, and I found while exploring this course that there are other possibilities. My greatest goal in pursuing my career track is to step out of my comfort zone and go beyond what is expected in the realms of new possibilities. I have worked in the same job as a Starbucks barista for over 15 years and am quite comfortable in my role. However, when it comes to the point where I must move forward with the other opportunities, the scholarship that was given to me has allowed me to explore other career options without going to depth. The idea of leaving the comfort of a coffee shop to work somewhere else that I've never done scares me at times. But I think about my motivation, the people who've done scary and unfamiliar things before, my strengths, I am capable of making my own impact. Throughout my time in this course, I've been able to explore what career tracks and opportunities are available for me in my main for education majors. I've been able to explore various nonprofits and see how I can contribute. I look forward to making a difference in students' lives and be supportive in their education pursuits so they can be their best selves. These are my list of references. Thank you very much for listening.